Let's pour some patchy, I guess. That's what we're doing.
I guess so. Just another day episode, you know. Yo.
Interesting on the aromas. Very interesting.
Ooh, dude, chamomile tea. Or some kind of tea. Chamomile tea.
Dude, I don't know, dude. Honestly, okay, I will say this. I feel like going back to the last couple episodes when we talked about flavor, I think there's so much bias that happens. Like, once you see the bag, to me, I feel like it's a confirmation bias where it's like,
Totally.
oh, it has, Starburst on it. Well, all of a sudden, that's all you're tasting. We actually just literally did a cupping like 30 minutes before this, and it was blind. We didn't talk at all throughout the cupping because I'm like, man, I get swayed by what you say so much. Even though when we compared our notes, it was pretty much spot on.
The same.
Yeah, but it's just that like swaying in the moment. I feel like that's what coffee bags do to me. I don't know.
I mean, we talked about this not last time, but a few episodes ago about whether flavor notes should even be on cupping bags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a herbal thing going on, like a savory herbal. If that makes any sense?
Savory herbal. I
Like,
feel like those are like opposites. No,
depends.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're not.
No, you're right.
Actually, like, I know you guessed on grind size because you know this coffee and I don't, but it's pretty dialed.
You think so?
Yeah. Mouth feels excellent. Yeah, it's not sour. It's not dry. It's sweet.
I just feel like it's lacking something.
I was going to say, how old is this coffee? It's about 3 weeks, 4 weeks off roast.
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like.
But that's not bad. It's not supposed to be. Like 3 weeks,
No.
4 weeks,
No.
we know like 3 weeks is sometimes peak.
Depending on the coffee,
Yeah.
this might be too edgy and too controversial to say, but I feel like Ethiopian coffees are not the best coffees to drink a month off a roast. There's other coffees we've had that a month off a roast taste excellent. I think our Peru, right? Was it our Peru?
I don't know.
That about like at 3 weeks was tasting pretty good.
Yeah. Because I think water content and water activity actually plays into shelf life of coffee, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be completely.
I mean, if this coffee is 4 weeks off a roast, this is great.
As it's starting to cool, it's actually opening up a little
nice
bit.
Acidity.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
It's not super like, I'd say like the clarity isn't really high.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of muddled, but it's like enjoyable. It's what was that coffee that we had a couple where it was like really bad? We did even call it the roaster, but okay, I remember now.
I remember.
But it's not bad.
That was also Ethiopian coffee.
Yeah, it was also, but this is actually
one's
like
better,
this is enjoyable, so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great. Actually, speaking of savory, we should probably have a chef on here sometime.
That would be fun.
I think that would be fun, actually.
It would.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Be
time.
super good. Because it's all flavor.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Same.
And we should have a wine like sommelier.
Oh, that would be fun.
Dude, we should have, what's it called?
Yes.
Bar Chakota over here.
Yeah, Mr. Chakota.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We should actually go there also.
I haven't been there, but...
You haven't?
Uh-uh.
Okay, good. We need to go
Yeah.
soon. Yeah, I don't know. We today just wanted to unpack a little bit of a conversation that we've literally had multiple times over a cup of coffee like this. Like this is as real, as stripped down, as real as it gets around here with Mir. But yeah, it's just this. What we've been processing has just been like, there's so many roasting companies out there. And I feel like now everybody and their grandma is opening up a roastery. If not a roastery, they're getting a machine and they're roasting on it. There's cafes on the regular popping up, which is just crazy. I don't really understand that. And it's just like there's so much. For some people, I think a lot of people get, from a business standpoint, I think a lot of people get sketched out by that, being in our shoes.
Yeah.
Because I think the first inclination is like, oh, that's competition. Oh, because somebody else is going to buy somebody else's coffee, they're not going to buy mine. Or, hey, there's only so much pieces in the pie and somebody's going to take my piece.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's totally true. I'm listening
on the job.
I'm not sleeping on the job. I'm just listening, and I'm like, dude, you're totally right.
And that's in all industries also.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, it's like, unless you're reproducing like a cookie cutter cafe or doing the same thing that every roasting company is doing, then, I mean, even that is not necessarily competition. It's just like, well, yeah, we're all roasting coffee. Like that's kind of the given. That's the obvious. And I think most companies, coffee brands, are even coffee Instagrams. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Like most of them understand the fact that it has to be more than just another photo of a coffee cup with coffee, or another roasting company that simply is turning, beans brown, or another cafe that has like a nice espresso machine in it. It has to be more than that. That's if that is the basis of starting a coffee business or a coffee company, then yes, everyone is your competition.
But would you say that there's a lack of in the world?
Of what, coffee?
Not coffee, just like a lack of what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lack of in other words, what I'm saying is like, oh, if one more other roasting company starts, there's only so many roasting companies that can exist in the world.
I don't think so.
And if you start one across the street, then you're stealing what I have, and there's only so many pieces in the pie. So it's almost like this like aggressive tension between, these, whether that's businesses or business owners or whatever it is, where it's like, oh no, like this is competition. We are against each other. And because of you, I can't survive, or the other way around. Because of me, you're not going to be able to survive.
No.
What are your what's your take on that?
Not at all. Not at all.
And are there limitations to that? For example, like say like there are some towns out here up in the mountains here where there's literally a population of maybe 2,000 or maybe 1,000 people. If there's 10 roasting companies, how does that play out? Is it still competition? Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Is there still an abundance?
Is there enough demand for how much supply there is? It depends on what you look at it. I don't think that's the fact in our modern day and age, because the demand for product is so like huge. Like we're literally reaching global population. You were talking to folks in India a couple of days ago. You were on a Zoom chat with a producer from Colombia. Like we sell coffee. We ship coffee from Alaska to New York.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough. Like you and I just talked about that. Like if we reached 1% of Bellingham's population, we would basically like exceed all of our goals. I don't even know if we can.
Insane.
I have no idea if we would be able to keep up with the demand of 1% of Bellingham population buying 12-ounce bags.
Yeah, we would.
Our
business would.
We would
rip. Like.
Yeah. We would both have to go full time and hire someone.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of kind of like a lack of mindset, like a poverty mindset in that, where it's like, man, like I hate to quote Gary Vee, but I'm gonna do it. There's no other way around this. Gary once said, there's two ways to build the tallest building. It's either you destroy all the other buildings around you, you will be the tallest building, or you just go and you build the tallest building. Just build taller. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, we haven't talked about this specifically, but I feel like we'd probably lean towards just saying like, oh no, let's just build the tallest building. Yeah. Like, why does our success has to come at the expense of somebody else when there's so much abundance in the world? And literally the world is massive. I don't even think we understand how massive the states are, let alone the entire world, and how that ties into like to think that like there were trillions of dollars printed last year. I get that's a complicated conversation. I get that. Okay. Inflation, all the, but like that my brain cannot comprehend. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like we did on a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I think that was worth it because what we've been talking a lot about is like, how do you stand out amongst the hundreds and thousands of roasting companies in the country? Every other roasting company is saying, we have the best coffee. We have the specialty coffee. We have the third wave coffee. We have the lightest coffee. We're the most Nordic, the most, the sweetest, the complex, all this.
But that's the problem. Like that is the problem, that there's a lack of creativity right there. Like,
valid.
I think the coffee industry, that's profound. There's a few folks in the industry that I can think of right now that don't lack creativity. Yeah. But they're also not selling coffee. But they are selling coffee bags with roasted coffee in them. But their mission or their vision, their goal, their purpose is not to sell coffee. It's to do something else. Coffee is just the means, or you can say the vessel that they use to like deliver that. Like, but that's the problem, is like if a roasting company, if that's a good cafe is simply banking on having the best coffee in town. Like I went to Boomers before here, and literally there was that right above their beautiful logo, the neon logo. It says the planet's best burger. It's cool. It's fun. Funny. I don't know how you would define that. But at the end of the day, like, that's not what sells Boomers. Yeah. Like, right? Like, I didn't go there because it was the planet's best burger. I went for another reason. There's just simply the fact that Boomers is kind of cool, but then at the end of the day, it's also like quick. I mean,
it's a solid burger spot. Yeah.
I just sit in my car and or someone comes and takes my order. There's convenience to it.
There's convenience. Yeah. That's good.
It's more than that.
That's crazy that I've never just thought about that being paired with what I just said, is that, that lack of creativity is real. And I think the thing that unlocks that creativity, there's a lot of things. Just the creative world is bonkers how deep and it's crazy. The NFT space, the YouTube space, I'm struggling to keep up, and we work in this sphere kind of, but I think what really unlocks creativity is being dialed. And not just by dialed, is being, we go back to self-awareness a lot, but that's a big part of it. But being dialed in the sense of being in your own lane. It's when deep down your ethos, you know who you are, deep down exactly why you're doing it, how you're doing it. I don't want to sound cliche and say the Simon Sinek, the why behind, your business, your nonprofit, the why behind
your life,
Yeah, literally. Totally. Why do you drive, the car that you drive, or, whatever it is, but I feel like, when you lack staying in your own lane and knowing why you're staying in that lane and why you're headed in the direction that you're headed, and being confident in that, where you're like, dude, this is exactly, when you don't have that, I feel like you lack direction, and it's hard to steer a ship, which for us, the ship is the business. Yeah. The ship is Mir. It's hard to steer it in the direction that is original, is creative, is innovative, is empowering to the people around you. It's not tearing other people down. It's actually
Yeah.
building people up with you. When you don't have that foundational ethos, it's kind of hard to just function.
Yeah. It also has to do with, I think, sometimes we spend too much time looking around and looking at what other people are doing.
Oh, 100%.
Versus just
Wow.
looking ahead or I mean, as you know, this may sound spiritual or mystical, but looking looking inward. And that has to do with self-awareness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what
sure.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can see so much around you, but if you really like, enjoy, believe, are passionate about something, even if it's the same thing as someone else around you, but you do it, it's going to be original and creative simply because it comes out of your inner being, out of that passion of like, oh, I want to do this. Like we've talked about like Gary V's like ideas, like sports cards, like all of these nostalgic things that you and I have both enjoyed throughout our life. And we've always said like, how do we reproduce this in coffee?
Yeah.
How do we release that creative energy into mirror?
Of course.
I mean, even our photography stuff that we do. I mean, here's like you take me, you, Dan D. Warden, Peter McKinnon, and we all go to Origin and take a photo of Jorge Mendes. We're all going to take the same photo in the same condition, but it's going to be completely different.
Yeah, that's crazy. And, I like that you said about looking to the sides of you, looking at others. There's just such a thin line. Like, I think, first off, I'm going to preface that with saying, like, it really comes down to being in your own lane. Mm-hmm. And having that tunnel vision is so important. Like, I don't know why, but that's been just what I've been thinking about the last 3 months. Maybe that's why it's come up in our conversation. But man, if you're starting a business, if you're starting something, oh man, you absolutely have to be able to find a space where you can go hella tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Where you can literally blur everything out and say, this is where I'm going and this is how I'm going to get there and this is what I'm up to.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is the more that you look to the left and right, what somebody else is doing, the success of somebody else's business, especially in a lack mindset, it strips you of that creativity.
Yeah.
You can't function at the level that maybe you have the potential to.
Yep.
I've even noticed for myself, it's like once I start looking to the left and right of whether that's, other roasting companies, other business models, other creatives, like there's a threshold where I'm looking at others and I'm getting inspired. And then you hit the threshold. And after that, you're like, I just want to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do this. Like everybody's better than me. Everybody's doing bigger and better things than me. Everybody has to figure it out. And it's just that threshold where if you're not monitoring that, looking to left and right can go from, you being happy for others and being inspired off of somebody else's success to all of a sudden being the thing that's killing you and that's filling you, with envy, with jealousy, with all these things that are just going to choke your creativity.
But the reality is everybody's intimidated by someone. That's
yeah.
I mean, we don't know. We can only guess. But I imagine there's someone that Peter McKinnon looks at and is like, man, like I want to do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least it goes through his mind. It may not be as driving, but I feel like we deal with that temptation. Every one of us has another business owner that, and they're like, man, they're so successful, or dang, like that. I wish I could do that. But I think sometimes when we stick or when we get stuck in that kind of like mindset, that kind of mode, it actually prevents us from taking action to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not going to get anywhere. We're not, even when we look at someone that we aspire to be, if it doesn't inspire us to move and we're just comparing and sitting there, we're not going to become what we want to become anyway.
Yeah.
And it strips us of being who we truly are, like the original self of who we're meant to be. You know what I mean? So there's that whole one little piece of lack mentality just produces a whole cycle and circle of lack, because like this idea of lack never actually creates or prospers or like pushes you forward to actually do live in abundance. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
Yeah. Man.
But you're right. There's this thin line of always looking to someone and being inspired by someone to actually move, because inspiration moves you forward. It doesn't hold you back.
Yeah.
So there's that fine line, and it's hard to figure out. I mean, when it comes to like photos, coffee, everything that we do day to day, it's latte art for me right now. You know what I mean? It's hard to watch these folks succeed and wanting to be like them instead of being like myself.
Of course. And the most ironic thing I think is like what you said, like the answer actually lies within you as a human being. I mean, there's a lot of tension in that, because let's be honest, if you zoom out far enough, we all look the same.
Yeah.
But if you zoom in close enough, you start to realize like, oh no, we are all unique, and we all have unique potential. Like we all have unique skill set and abilities and all this stuff, where it's like literally the things that you have, maybe not many people actually have, and you can tailor it in a very unique way that's going to lead you to success on a completely different level than anybody else that you're maybe looking at. But if you're too busy looking outward and you're not able to get into that that shell, that like cocoon, and be able to just see those things and cultivate them, then you're missing out on the potential that's actually there. And that's, man, in the world where there's a screen everywhere in front of your face, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So I as we wrap this up, I don't know, maybe we want to just like leave it off with just saying like, sharing maybe some things that you think is like, what are some practical ways that people can find their own lane, and just what are some practical ways that people can just double down in on what they're doing and find their own lane and just like crush it at what they're doing?
Yeah. There's two things that I realize when I get in that mood of one, comparison, but also looking at just simply everyone around me instead of zoning into my lane. I know for a fact there's one thing: I'm tired, like just tired, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
That's a big sign for me that I need to rest. One thing.
Yeah.
Two, it's simply, gosh, I just blanked on that. Like tiredness is such a big one for me. Like that I need to find just time to disconnect. And by that, I mean, do something that's not related to this. Oh, the second part is I know I'm on the verge of pushing through. I just need to go just a little farther. Yeah. I noticed this in latte art. As soon as I'm pouring latte art and I can't steam my milk. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I know how to steam milk. Like, what is going on? Why is my milk too thick? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, instead of saying no, I say, I'm going to try one more time. Try one more time. And I use that frustration to inspire me to keep moving and watching less IG videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I just need to focus on the basics. I'm just going to keep going. And then I hit it, and like every pour is like fire. I'm like, dude, I need to take photos of all these pours because it's going.
Yeah.
And I see right before crazy moments of growth, I hit that mark of like frustration. So now I welcome that frustration.
Okay.
But then I welcome it with rest and action and rest. Yeah. They're not contradictory. They actually work together.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think what you said about tired, it's pretty crazy. I mean, when you said that, I was like, oh no, I actually think the same way, where I know there are times when I'm lack of sleep, lack of food, just having a havoc of a day, I get the worst thoughts, the worst ideas, where I'm like, I forget everything. What am I doing? And I instantly have to remind myself, it's okay that you're feeling that way. Just don't make any rational decisions. Just if you need to make a decision, do it tomorrow. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get 10 hours of sleep, you eat a good breakfast, and you're like, that was dumb. Yeah. And I think
or go play some soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Guys,
Like,
the other day I almost died on the pitch. It was horrible. I was coughing up blood 10 minutes into the game. But yeah, and I think the last thing like I'd love to add is like, gratitude. Find ways to practice normal, regular gratitude and be able to look back at your life, have things that you're thankful for, and reflect on the things that you've actually succeeded in. Instead of just being so focused in on what you don't have, what you haven't achieved, all this stuff, figure out a way to be thankful and grateful for where you've gone to this point. Because let's be honest, every one of us has overcome so many things in life that we should be actually just genuinely proud of,
Totally. Well, that's a good way to end it. I was going to add something else, but I won't. Because we're going to keep on going. Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching, listening, wherever you listen to us at. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube on your streaming platform of choice. Follow us on Instagram, and hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers. Woo-hoo.